Okay, so again, intro is broken.
I mean, we can
Attic.
just we can do it a cappella. Do 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 do.
Pants and boots. Right? That's. Oh my goodness. We weren't streaming about 5 seconds ago. This is the first time we've streamed at all this evening, despite whatever history and timestamps will say. I was explaining to Shalene here of why we needed the intro for padding, so that way the alerts can go out. And Oak and Crow, you're broken in the chat. Anyway, hi everyone.
He says we're broken. I think it's a little rude of him to point it out, but
yes, it is rude. Hi everyone, welcome to episode 84 of Gamestack. Are we there yet? And I am Rick McVick, and with us tonight is Shalene.
hello, hello.
And Vendertron is going through some, not that he has COVID stuff, but he is dealing with a small set of outbreaks up in
Of
the
course.
Canadian world. So
He is in the medical field. He does contact tracing, all kinds of work to fight COVID. And he asked us to pass on the very important message to stay the hell home.
Yes. Coffee. Speaking of coffee, we are going to announce this evening our very first ever, in the history of this particular show, our very first ever sponsor. And that sponsor is Oak and Crow Coffee. Now, I have had a relationship with this coffee company in the past, i.e. he is a listener. And let me tell you a little story of how I came to know and love Oak and Crow Coffee. I got a message once from this feller, and he's like, hey, can I send you some coffee? I roast it, and I would love to send you some. And I looked at the profile picture, and I immediately judged this person. And I looked at him, and I was like, Shalene, I'm going to send this out your way in case it ticks when you get it. Because, some random listener's sending me something I'm going to ingest, And I don't know why... I don't know why I had that reaction. So anyway, we sent it to
I think he had a tattoo.
I think so too. But it was really what happened. I'm super skeptical when any listener wants to send me something at all.
Well, I mean, the thing is, my address is the post office box, and your address is your home.
Oh, that too. That's the other part of it too. Yeah, we'll go with that. But anyway, so it went to Shalene, came to me. And isn't that telling of our relationship, where it's like, if in case this is bad or a bomb, I'm gonna send it to you.
Yes.
I'm a horrible human.
It's fine. It's fine. I will jump on the grenade for you. It's fine.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure you would. So anyway, I get this bag of coffee, and it was the most delicious coffee I had ever had in my entire life, and it was the Road Crew blend, their kind of signature blend, and it was just, oh my goodness, I can't begin to tell you how amazing this particular coffee was. And yeah, so if you're interested in, there are, like I said, there are sponsors going forward, and if you would like to check out some of their coffees, you can just go to oakandcrow.com/coffee, and they have blends like Road Crew and Into the Void, different locations like Peru, Cajamarca, I hope I'm saying that right, Honduras, Cooperativa Reos, I don't know. Anyway, there's a whole bunch of different ones.
It's really entertaining to hear you try and pronounce these things.
I can't remember. There was one that I think it was the Guatemalan Hue Tango, Hue Tango, or whatever it was. What? How do you say it?
I have no idea. I
Hue Tenengo. Tenango.
I have no idea.
Hue Tenengo. Anyway.
But that's just, gosh, it's brilliant. It's brilliant.
Anyway, I think that one, like, when I first was reading it to my wife, I was like, black cherry, pecan, creamy chocolate, and we were like, I don't know about this one. Because, like, these aren't flavors that he put. These are just notes of the particular coffee brew.
Okay. I don't think this is Spanish. I think this may be a different language. If it is Spanish. I don't recognize it, but I would hazard huehuetenango.
Okay, there you go. So these aren't like flavors that he puts in there. This is just the tasting notes of it. And so we were like, I don't know, black cherry. We just wasn't sure. And that one ended up being like one of our absolute favorite ones. So head out to oakandcrow.com and check out their artist collaborations and also their straight up coffee. It's roasted in upstate New York, and it is, oh goodness, it's some of the most delicious coffee. So anyway, that is our sponsor for this evening. And I should also mention, we have Joshi Theater, which happens, when does that happen? On
Mondays at noon Pacific.
It sounds right. Sounds fun.
At noon Joshi time. I'm not sure what time Joshi time is.
So that's there. You can join our, we'll get to that in a second. I almost spoiled something. On Sunday, we're going to pick back up with the Medium this Sunday and with Survival Horror Sunday. And that is at 4 Mountain Time, 6 Eastern Standard Time, here at twitch.tv/WeJustLoveGames. And also, I'm not sure, did Vendor answer me with his Book Nook?
I don't think he did, okay. No. But he's probably going to do another one.
Yes. I don't know when that's going to happen, but that will also happen in our Discord, is Vendor's Book Nook. How can you help us with this show? You can find some new hosts, because we're just god-awful at this. But you can host us on Twitch, you can tell your friends about the show, and you can go buy some Oak and Crow coffee. Anywho, what are we typing here? 5-star. Oh, do we have some? Okay. You want to go for it?
Yes, 5-star review shoutouts. So, guys, we have gotten really lax about checking on these 5-star reviews, and we've missed a couple. Just one, I believe, in terms of Gamestack. But we do appreciate these reviews. The first one that we have, we only have the one. Okay. The first one we have comes from Thanaknak.
Okay.
Thanaknak.
All right.
Anyways, this person who is from the USA says 5 stars only. PSN Thanaknak.
All right.
So thank you very much for this review.
There you go. Also, we have some new Discordians, Shalene.
We do. We have 2 new people in the Discord since our last program. Jack Flash 07 and Weepy Saucer 9404. Welcome both of you to the Chat After Dark.
Nice. Sorry. I hear really weird honking outside. I was trying to see if there was like a fire.
Is it a goose?
No. It's a big fire truck kind. So I was trying to figure out if there was like a incident somewhere in our area, but it doesn't seem to be. Anyway, how can people join our Discord if they wanted to get shouted it out?
If you would like to join our Discord, you can click the link right below this Twitch broadcast. That link is available and live, whether or not the Twitch channel is live. Alternately, you can send a message to any of us on social media, and we will get you the link.
Nice. So, coming up this evening, we've got some news. We've got some game stocks and some gameplay. So, without further ado, this just in. I think my OBS is broken.
I think it is too. I don't hear any sounds.
Okay.
I was the invisible woman for a while.
Okay.
It's okay.
Oh, you were invisible. Okay. Well, you know what?
It's okay. I mean, I don't want to stun the people with all of this beautifulness, so it's probably for the best, really.
Well, I don't know. I constantly need to remake these setups in Discord, or not in Discord, in OBS, and it gets rather annoying. And speaking of constant remakes, The Last of Us apparently is getting a remake.
But why though?
And works at Naughty Dog. I know. Didn't they just do this Or did they do a remaster?
Did. This was a PS3 game.
Yeah.
They remade it for PS4.
Or was it a remaster?
Well, regardless, the original still holds up. Like, it's...
So, yeah. Apparently, let's see here. Where do we get into this? Yeah, they're... And Naughty Dog... So, the report... Sorry. All right. Inside, Visual Arts Service Group founder Michael Mumbauer recruited about 32 people from inside Sony and out to create a new division that would develop a remake of The Last of Us for PlayStation 5. Bloomberg said the team didn't get funding or support from Sony and elected to shift development on The Last of Us remake to Naughty Dog. This is also an article from GameSpot. Also, apparently, the report doesn't... Let's see here. There is no Days Gone sequel coming.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah. Apparently it was pitched but didn't move ahead. And instead of working on a sequel, one team at Sony Bend is now assisting Naughty Dog in a Naughty Dog multiplayer game. The report doesn't say what the game is, but it was previously announced that Naughty Dog is making a standalone Last of Us multiplayer game. Another team inside Sony Bend was put to work on a, quote, new Uncharted game with Naughty Dog overseeing the project. So there's kind of a whole bunch of stuff in this. Like, okay, so a new Uncharted is pretty cool. Right? I mean...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm for it.
We're all for that
I think they proved with... I forget the title of that spin-off one, but they proved that the series doesn't need Nathan Drake.
Was that the Czech?
Yeah. It's been a while since I played it. I can't remember the name of that game, but it was Naomi and the other lady were the two main characters.
Gotcha.
And I thought it was fantastic. Lost Legacy. Thank you, Tuck Tuck in chat. Yeah, Uncharted Lost Legacy was fantastic. I would absolutely play another game like Lost Legacy.
Nice. Okay, and so we're gonna get that, and then again another remake of that. This one doesn't make sense to me. Why does Last of Us need to get remade?
It doesn't. It doesn't.
Like, what do you think the decision process is behind it? I mean, are they just trying to go for the money, or?
Yes, I absolutely think that they've sold a bunch of this game and they want to try and sell it again. I think it's quite silly. I would much rather see them work on something new, like even the Days Gone sequel. Anything like this is so unnecessary. Why?
Yeah, I know. When I first saw this news, I was like, this is dumb. I think the remake trend has gotten a little...
It's a waste of resources.
Because, yeah, instead of developing new IPs, and it's just following Hollywood. Hollywood's remaking everything, sequels, they're going with what... You know what? It kind of does make sense, though, in the middle of a pandemic. They're going with things that work rather than trying new things that may not make money for the developer, when money and spending money may be a little bit more less. You know what I mean?
I don't know. If I have limited funds and I can buy The Last of Us again, which I already have and have already played, or I can buy something new.
Yeah, I'm going to go for something new.
I want to buy something new.
Like Time Splitters 2. Did you ever play any of the Time Splitters?
I've never played a Time Splitters game. Do they split time?
I think they do. Down the middle.
Do they split time like between their mom and their dad? Or they split holidays, weekends?
I think so. So Time Splitters was a huge franchise. They were pretty popular. I think Time Splitters 2 was out for PlayStation 2. I don't think it was out for... I'm fairly certain it wasn't out for the PlayStation 3. I could be wrong. Anyway, no, I think it's PlayStation 2. 2002? Is that PlayStation 2?
So, yeah.
I think so.
That would be kind of towards the end of the PS2 life cycle.
Yeah, so Anyway, Time Splitters 2 apparently had a 4K port shoved into another game that nobody found for 5 years.
Like Matryoshka dolls? Like
Yes. Yeah, the Russian nesting dolls.
Russian nesting dolls.
Collection of Russian nesting dolls. Nacho.
Gosh, like people who've never watched Nacho Libre just have no idea why we giggle to ourselves all the time.
Not at all. So, over the week, and this is taken from Polygon. Over the weekend, a former developer for Dambuster Studios, the maker of Homefront: The Revolution, and the descendant studio behind Time Splitters 2, revealed his favorite Easter egg: a full version of Time Splitters 2 in native 4K, even playable inside of Homefront: The Revolution. The problem was he forgot the cheat code to unlock it. Problem solved. Modder/hacker Lance McDonald reverse engineered Homefront's menu to figure out his way in, later realizing the emulation ninja Spencer Peralt had already tweeted it out on Thursday. Apparently, if you have Homefront Revolution, which I do, actually I don't think it's on the PC. It doesn't look like it's on the PC version at all. That sucks. But yeah, there's an actual like Konami code to boot up Time Splitters inside of Homefront: The Revolution.
That is fantastic.
It's been in there for 5 years.
Somebody in our Discord was commenting on this earlier this week. Yes. They said that the only redeeming part of the Homefront series was this Time Splitters port. And of course I had to stand up for our bro Homefront 1, because that game, I loved it.
Did you?
I know it wasn't perfect, but I really liked the first Homefront game. I thought it was extremely well written, and I enjoyed playing it.
I never played the first one. I got halfway through Homefront: The Revolution, and I actually liked it. I don't really know why. I can't go back to play it. Like, I've thought about going back to play it, and I just never installed it. But I really liked the Crisis-style modding of the weapons, where you just pull up a menu and you just, like, remove parts of your gun.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was drastically different than the first Homefront. I never played the second one. Yeah,
I remember being okay. It captured my imagination enough to play it for a couple hours and then promptly forget it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's that. Apparently Matt Phillips also said, it's probably about time this small fact came out too. I ported the network stack to ride on top of Homefront: The Revolution's co-op mode. If, and that's a big if, anyone was able to hack 2 or more arcades into one of the co-op maps, it'll boot into multiplayer menu. So,
wow.
Yeah, he just kind of like... So
that is so funny.
Yeah, talk about a giant Easter egg. So yeah, there's that.
That is really cool. Really cool.
Yeah. I don't know. It's one of those games that definitely should be free at this point, like Homefront: The Revolution, because it feels like one of those games you're going to play on a bored, like, rainy day. You'll install it. Mm-hmm. You know, did you ever, like, just peruse Xbox Game Pass for, like, games, and you're just like, I'll try this one out, and, like, download it?
Of course.
Mm-hmm. Xbox Games Pass has become, like, a huge juggernaut. Xbox and Microsoft itself has become a juggernaut.
Rick, Game Pass for me has sort of become like a game in and of itself. Like, there's so many choices on Game Pass that I can just scroll through Game Pass for like an hour, and then I'm tired and I'm ready for bed.
It's like Netflix. Well, I can't wait to sit and watch something.
And I realized that I just spoiled your segue because I didn't read the show notes.
No, it's fine. I was also going to say that part of the news with Game Pass, and I don't even know if we've covered this, but Microsoft has confirmed that all ZeniMax and Bethesda-oriented games going forward are going to be exclusive to Game Pass platforms, which shoves out Sony. So
yeah, I mean,
it makes sense.
You're not going to spend $7 billion on a company to share it.
And so it kind of left a lot of us wondering, like, what is Sony going to do? Like, they don't have anything up their sleeves. They're not doing any sort of battling. They're just kind of staying in their own little corner and doing what they do best. Well, apparently on a live stream at some point, on a YouTube stream on April 8th, spotted via VGC. This is a GameSpot article as well. God of War and Twisted Metal developer David Jaffe said staff at Sony had let him know about a, quote, counterpunch to Xbox Game Pass. He admitted he didn't know he admitted that he didn't know what for that would take, nor does it sound like he knows when there will be an announcement. But this isn't the first time that Sony has teased a service to a game developer. And so what do you think a Sony, quote, Game Pass system would look like?
Well, they've got PS Now, which is a subscription service where you can play games. They've had that longer than Game Pass has existed, but it's kind of lackluster. So I don't know if they're just going to try and rebrand PS Now and maybe add some quality of life updates and try to relaunch that as a Game Pass competitor, or if they're going to develop something entirely new. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like it's been a while. No, that's not true. Sony has always had a really strong exclusive game. Sony has always had a very strong exclusive game. So I don't know what exactly that they're going to try to do. I can't imagine they've got the cash to start procuring companies like Microsoft has been doing. Because they already have a strong indie game system, like a strong indie platform as well. Not as strong as Microsoft's, but they do host indies.
They do. And I feel like Sony has got some definite must plays that are exclusive in games like the Horizon. What's the new one coming up? What's the new one called? Horizon Zero Noon,
I guess.
Horizon Zero Brunch.
I don't know.
The new Horizon Zero Dawn game.
Yes.
And like the God of War series and stuff like Detroit Become Human. That was fantastic. I adored that game. That was a system seller for me. Anything that Naughty Dog makes is absolutely a must play. I feel like they are doing their own thing, and maybe it would be better if they didn't try to compete with Microsoft in this way. Maybe it would be better if they stuck to being an exclusives machine. And because they do that very well. You know, those Spider-Man games, there are so many amazing Sony exclusives. Horizon Forbidden West. Thank you, Tuck Tuck.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. Sony has always had the better exclusive game, if you ask me. Microsoft never had the same sort of roster of exclusive games that I felt like held up to PlayStation.
Microsoft had far fewer exclusives that really came to bat. Microsoft had Halo. We haven't had a new Halo in a long time.
The Gears of War, I guess, technically.
Gears of War, Fable.
But they abandoned Fable.
Kind of, yeah. They're supposed to be working on Fable 4 right now, or we'll see.
Another one of those games that was announced and then it'll be like 20 years down the road. We can actually finally play it. So yeah, that's something to look forward to. I can't imagine it could be a counterpunch. I have a feeling it's going to be like a fly punching a giant, but
I think part of the strength of Game Pass, at least for me, I don't know if this applies to your average video game consumer, but a lot of the strength of Game Pass to me is the ubiquity of the platform. You know, I don't just have Game Pass on my Xbox. I can also play those Game Pass games on my PC.
Yes.
I can play them on my iPad or my phone if I'm traveling. I can pull them up on a laptop and stream. And there are so many options with Game Pass. I am not tied to a console. I'm not tied to a single place. I can play them wherever I have broadband. And that's fantastic.
Yeah. That is absolutely one of the beauties behind Game Pass.
I had to do some traveling a few months ago, you remember I had, my grandmother, some situations came up, and I distracted myself with Game Pass titles on my iPad. It was great. It helped a lot. And I didn't have to pack a console to be able to lose a couple of hours in a video game. It was wonderful. It was just wonderful.
And let's not forget their partnership with EA Play now.
Right.
Like, that's insane. Like, how many people are going to be able to play Mass Effect Legendary Edition day one? This guy will be able to.
Oh, that's right, Rick. I'm not even gonna have to buy it.
That's what's insane.
That's wonderful.
It's crazy.
And all those sports games are on there. I know you and I aren't big into sports games, but they are huge system sellers, and you can play the newest version on Game Pass of all of those: NBA, 2K, FIFA, Madden. All that stuff is on EA Play.
Yeah,
so
those are really hot games to a certain group of gamers, and it.
Yeah, my nephew loves them.
Yeah,
loves them. He will play FIFA all day.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Cyberpunk got a patch, like a huge bug patch. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Tell me more about this patch. Is the patch actually hot, or is the patch not?
The game's worse.
Really? How?
I don't know.
Rick?
I don't know. So I got all excited. I was like, "Oh, let's try this hot patch out." I had actually uninstalled the game after 100 hours, not because I hated it or anything. Just I'd kind of run its course, and I was like, "Let's try it again." So I re-downloaded it, and I had no issues with this game at all. Like, a couple of bugs here and there, like Jackie would walk through lockers and papers would fly, and it was funny. Or he'll materialize through elevator doors and then they'll open, and stuff like that. But this is it's worse. I've seen NPCs just like disappear into nothing while like bumping into them. You bump into them, they go like and just poof off. Another thing is now the game cannot load sprites faster than you can drive. So you'll be driving down the road at like 150, and then there's no people and no cars. There are like headlights in the distance that'll just disappear because they can't get to you, but the sprites can't load fast enough, so there's like traffic anymore. Before there were traffic jams and like just stuff, and it's just failed. It's so bad now.
So I feel like part of the issue with Cyberpunk's all of this is that they started developing this for a different platform, and like by the time the game finally came out, we were like 2 console generations later. I feel like maybe if you can't get your game out within the generation, that's a development problem, and maybe they should consider, because the same thing happened with The Last Guardian. Really, The Last Guardian was in development for like 13 years.
Mm-hmm.
They've got to be able to get these games out within a reasonable time. I feel like a lot of the problems are because the technology that it's on didn't exist when they started.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe they were aiming too high. They usually say, aim for the moon, you'll land among the stars. Well, I think they hit a black hole or something. Or they whipped around and landed in the sun. I don't know.
I think they exploded before they got out of the atmosphere.
Yeah. They poofed all over the launch pad. I don't know if there's any salvaging this game. I can't. There's a few articles out there that say they're like, oh, they're going to abandon it. I can't imagine that they're going to abandon the IP.
And we talk about like saving the game, but they made tons of money on this game.
They did.
This game made its cost back and then some.
Yeah.
It's not a failure in terms of economics. This game is not a failure.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got my copy right here.
Have you even tried it?
I have, yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's right. You didn't like it.
It was fine. It was okay. I was like a little skeeved out by one of the characters, but
I will tell you that character is worse on the Nomad line than he is in the other lines. Yeah, he's more El Chico kind of like in the Nomad version than he is in the other ones. Yeah, it's a huge difference in my opinion. But I think the best pathway if you're gonna get introduced to that character is definitely the street kid. I think that's the best, where Jackie makes the most sense. But it like the game worked flawlessly on PC before this patch, and then now that they introduced this patch, it like took steps back. I don't know. I noticed there was a couple graphical things that they had changed, like they optimized it quote unquote for AMD cards. And there's also like a slider that says like the density of the population you can pick. So I don't know if there's a bug in there somewhere that's causing this stuff not to load, but if this is how it launched, I would have hated it.
So it's gone back that far, because at launch you had some bugs.
Yeah.
You had a little bit of jank.
I had Bethesda
but
bugs.
It was nothing that stood in the way of you enjoying this game.
Yeah, this one snaps me out of the reality of the game. It's pretty bad. Like, oh, here's another one for you. If you're driving and you hit the escape menu, like hit escape to go to the menu and then go back in the game, parts of your HUD will just disappear.
Nice.
So like the mini map will zoom in and the GPS and icons will go away. Excuse me, I have hiccups. And you hit escape and then hit escape again to like bring the menu back up and then close it again, and then it'll like be fine. Or your speedometer readout will disappear, but the rest of the HUD is fine. Like it doesn't make sense. Like stuff that never happened before. The radio would just stop playing. Just stops. And it's like this never happened before. Like I said, NPCs just disappearing, cars disappearing off the middle of the road, and you stop and all of a sudden you're in like a ghost town. There's nobody, nothing. And it's like, why? What did you do? Why? Who's testing this? So, yeah, it sucks. But there's a lot of controversy around that game. And before I couldn't see it, and now I definitely can see it. If this was people's experience from day one, I totally understand the discourse. So, yeah. But that's not the only controversy we're going to talk about tonight, Shalene.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We're going to talk about a game that I didn't notice the first time it came around. And this game still has a lot of controversy surrounding it. And the game is called 6 Days and in Fallujah. Now, let me give you a little bit of the backstory about what actually 6 Days is. Are you familiar with this game, Shalene?
I remember that it was in development quite a long time ago and was canceled.
Yes. Yeah, it was canceled. Does it make sense why it was canceled? Because I'll tell you what is going on. The game was conceived by a Marine who was actually badly wounded in the Battle of Fallujah. And then they've actually worked with over 100 Marines and soldiers who were involved with this war to make this game. They actually went to Fallujah and talked with civilians who lived in the area and were there during the battle. And the game is to tell this story of when Saddam was captured during the Iraqi Freedom War, and the power vacuum came, and ISIS took over Fallujah and turned it into a stronghold. And then our soldiers went in and took it back, the 6-Day War. So it tells that story. And the reason that this is controversial is because it's so accurate to the depiction. And I don't understand why that's the controversy behind it, because like they've done D-Day games. So.
I find this really interesting because it seems to me that websites that I have seen praising historical accuracy in some war games are now saying that it's a monstrous thing that this game has historical
Yeah.
accuracy.
By the way,
And I've heard people making the argument that it's because this is such a recent thing, and the people are who were involved. There are still people alive who lived through these events, but there are still people alive who lived through World War II
and Vietnam.
I feel like that argument doesn't hold water.
No, it doesn't. And by the way, I need to correct something. God of Radio pointed out this is the second Battle of Fallujah, and you're right. This takes place in 2004. Well, like, we've had modern warfare shooters still, like Battlefield and Call of Duty,
and Modern Warfare.
Yeah, like they've all taken place in and around these things. Now, a lot of the controversy comes from certain groups, in particular, Muslim civil rights group is calling for Sony, Microsoft, and Valve to deplatform 6 Days in Fallujah, claiming that it is nothing but an Arab murder simulator that will only normalize violence against Muslims in America and around the world.
Now, I do understand that it is a big concern that a lot of shooters are just white people shooting brown people. That is something to consider. And I can understand, especially with a community like the Muslim community that has been heavily discriminated against. But deplatforming the entire game seems a little bit much. It seems a bit much to me.
And to be fair, Call of Duty loves to pick on the Russians. So, I mean, it's not always
true.
It's usually just like the U.S. versus X country. And that, too, I would love to see. I mean, there are certain games where the United States is kind of the bad guy, but I can't really think of many off the top of my head where it doesn't end up being some sort of, like, conspiracy. Like, for instance, like in Assassin's Creed 3, George Washington ends up being a bad guy. So, like,
in
they're
the DLC,
kinda,
yeah.
Like, you're still fighting the Brits and you're still aiding the U.S. So it's somebody asked me the other day, like, why is America never the bad guy in a video game? I really don't. Maybe because throughout history, we really, depending on the perspective, we haven't been. I mean, depending on perspective. Do you see what I'm trying to get at?
I do. I don't think that that's entirely accurate.
Well,
I feel
I agree.
No, I don't mean just historically. I mean, I think it's not accurate to say that America has never been represented in a more villainous way in fictional. Like, I feel like even in some of the mainstream titles, like Call of Duty, they show Americans doing shady things.
General Shepard killed ghosts. Damn it.
I feel like a lot of games take a more nuanced approach, especially something like Spec Ops: The Line.
Yes, that was a very good shooter.
Yeah,
with story.
Yeah,
and I agree. I also don't think that these games have led towards any sort of biased violence towards a group.
I also want to know if anybody's played this game. Like, who's have the people from this advocacy group, have they been hands-on with the game? Have they played through the game? Have they had that opportunity?
Well, the funny thing is I'm fairly certain that I've read somewhere, so don't hold me to this part of it, that most of the people criticizing the game had nothing to do with this story at all. Like, they weren't in Fallujah. They never came from Fallujah. They didn't fight in Fallujah. And so I want to read a couple of these facts here before I tell you about the game. Well, let me tell you about the game first. So the game, like I said, takes place in 2004 during the second battle. Thank you, God of Radio. of Fallujah, where we're taking the town back from, I believe, Al-Qaeda? Or is it ISIS? I don't remember. Anyway, bad guys. And one of the elements of war in urban warfare is, as someone who's clearing the building, you don't know the layout of the house. You know, when you're taking a town, you have to clear every building, every room in the entire city, and you don't know the layout. And that's the way that it is presented in this game. You don't know the layouts of these buildings. The game is not linear. And so when you go through the game and you beat it, if you start it again, the entire city is procedurally remixed. It's never the same twice.
That's really interesting.
Every room, every building, every street, completely different every time you play it. So that way you're always guessing. You have no idea ever what's around that corner. And to me, that's one of the... hold on a second, we got... Oh. They flagged that, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I knew that they were flying the black banner that's usually associated with ISIS, but I couldn't remember if it was like formerly ISIS at the time. But God of Radio says it's Al-Qaeda in Iraq was the lead group, and it wasn't ISIS at the time, though the elements were similar. Okay. So that's kind of the gameplay of it. It's tactical, so you control your squad. They do movements while you flank and stuff like that. No, you're fine, God of Radio. It's yeah. Anyway, so it's a really interesting military shooter type situation. You know what I mean? It's been a long time since we've had a proper tactical shooter like SWAT 3 or SWAT 4, and even the old school Ghost Recon games where you could, it was really tactical. These days when it's like, this is a tactical shooter, and then they present you Ghost Recon, and you're like the new Ghost Recon Wildlands or something, and you're like, that's not... That's a looter shooter. Breakpoint is a looter shooter. Or like, Battlefield tactical action. It's not tactical at all. So it's been a while since we've had like a good tactical game, like even old Rainbow Six games. Well, anyway, one of the things that I thought was really, really cool is their FAQ. They really put out transparency of this game to try to, I think, curb some of the controversy, like the fact that it was conceived by Marines who fought there and other soldiers, the fact that they've interviewed 26 Iraqis, 23 of whom were from Fallujah, and they wanted to tell you the story of their experience during the game. Also, as you go through the game, you'll get documentary interviews in between the levels, I guess, of civilians and soldiers.
That's really interesting. I really feel like this game is being judged based on, just perceptions of it. I would like to see people play the game and experience the game and then make their decision. It's entirely possible that this game represents things badly. That's entirely possible, but I don't think anybody has seen enough of it to judge that.
Yeah, I agree too. Check this out too. Players will assume the role of an unarmed Iraqi father trying to get his family out of the city during certain missions. Like that's going to be heavy, man.
Yeah.
They don't recreate any death of a specific service member during gameplay, though the Marines and soldiers will describe the sacrifices of their teammates during video interviews. You will not play as an insurgent. They say during the single-player campaign or in a multiplayer recreation of an actual event. So that makes me feel like there's going to be multiplayer where it's like Marines versus insurgents, but it's not going to be a historical depiction. And that shows that they're putting a lot of thought and effort into, like, we don't want to recreate a real event and then have bad guys killing Marines. Like, we're going to make this a separate, if there's a multiplayer in here, we're going to make it just like a playground, not historically accurate. And I think that's crazy. There's no recruiting. This is not involved with the United States government, so there's no recruiting drive based on this, like America's Army was for the Xbox. And a portion of the proceeds from 6 days will be donated to organizations supporting coalition service members as well as Iraqi citizens who have been most affected by this war on terror. So I think one of the reasons that it's also controversial is the fact that there were a lot of bad things that happened that the United States and coalition members did during the Iraq war. Bad calls, war crimes, that sort of thing. Like Vietnam, it was kind of that. And I think that also played into a little bit of the into that sort of, but it's history. I mean, it's stuff that like we play video games to learn a little bit about history. I mean, like certain Call of Duty games pointed out historical events that maybe we missed, or you know, that was the one thing I thought was really cool about Battlefield 1 was even though they weren't like based on historical battles, they kind of pulled from history and like fictionalized a little bit to like kind of portray the gravity of World War One. You know, and even Assassin's Creed games play heavily on history. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's important to kind of go back and look at where we've come from so we can look better where we're going. But I am very excited just to play this game and experience a tactical shooter beyond the controversy of it, personally.
Yes. I definitely think that the world needs to see more of the game before they decide to vilify it. And I find it very concerning that it is being criticized so heavily for elements that have been praised by the same outlets in other games. So that's, to me, that's highly concerning.
Yeah. But, and I also said on one post, I said, meanwhile in Call of Duty, remember, no Russian. Because like in that one, you're just lighting up civvies with a machine gun. And, and I remember that being controversial at the time, but
not this much. Nobody asked nobody asked Steam, Microsoft, and Sony to deplatform Call of Duty because of the no Russian level.
And it's weird. Like, I don't like that level, but you still, and like, here's the funny thing. I've played that level so many times because I like the campaign for Modern Warfare 2.
It's a great game.
It's a great campaign. But I never realized till someone pointed out, like years later, I saw it in some random article, that you never have to fire a shot.
Yeah. I didn't. Rick!
It didn't occur to me.
Yeah, you don't have to fire a shot.
No. You don't.
You can just walk through it.
I didn't know.
I think I may have fired a couple of bullets like into the ceiling when I went through that. But oh, gosh, I'm so unsurprised that you're just like, all right, we're doing this.
Well, like, you know, because in my head I'm thinking like you're a CIA operative, you're trying to catch Markov, and you got to play the part. You know, and Shepard's like, you will lose a part of you, and to me, I'm like, that's the part of me that has to.
Darn you, Rick. Darn you.
Fully auto 762. And then like, I hate.
Don't you end up getting made whether or not you fire a shot?
Oh yeah. Like you get in the truck and he just goes, and he's like, that was no message. Bang! Shoots you right here in the chest.
Yeah.
And he's like, this is the message, and there's been like isolated vocal tracks that they've taken from like the missions where the capital's being sieged by the Russian forces, and the voice actors they have doing like the voice acting on the radio. It's crazy. Like if you listen to the isolated ones, their voices are cracking by screaming. They're like, they're breaking the perimeter, and you can hear their voice crack. Like, wow. It's like it's
intense.
Yeah. And so I went back and I'll talk more about the gameplay, but yeah, it's just weird that this particular game caused so much controversy. And it makes me think a little bit about some of the games that have come out recently that have to do with shooting. Call of Duty Black Ops, which is a very fantastical version of Cold War, right? It's not a historically accurate thing. It's like a fictionalized story with psychedelic drugs and mind washing and stuff set in the element of the Vietnam Cold War era. You know, Battlefield 5 was during World War II, and they didn't even show swastikas in that.
Yeah, that was a kind of a weird thing.
And so like a lot of the shooters that have come out recently have just been like loosely based on stuff to where almost it's like a homogenized version of it. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, per se, like to tell a fictionalized story within a setting. But I wonder if that move towards those homogenized settings is because anything that's historically accurate to anything modern can be perceived as controversial and upsetting, like 6 Days in Fallujah, which is arguably the first historically accurate war game we've had in a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
It's fascinating.
Yeah. I don't know what to think about it. If it gets dropped by any of these places, I'm going to be pretty upset. And that's a huge blow to, in my opinion, the people who fought and had to survive in that particular engagement. So
honestly, I wouldn't be surprised to see at least one of the platforms drop the game.
Sony.
I feel like it's become very popular to sort of capitulate to this kind of complaint.
I'll bet you it's like 5 people yelling about it. It can't be that many people really that upset about it. I wonder if that's...
I don't know. I'd be really interested to hear more of the arguments directly from the people who oppose the game.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to hear that, hear what they have to say, hear their side of the story. But I do have a feeling that it is probably a small number of people compared to the people who don't care.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Cephalon Kiwi says, historically, history has always been warped as the victors are normally the ones telling the story. Absolutely right. And I guess that was also kind of the point I was trying to make before, where the United States isn't necessarily the big bad villain in most games, because we've, for the most part, kind of won most.
Back-to-back World War champs.
Yeah, kind of. And so therefore it's hard to make us like unless you set it in the future where America goes crazy and we like invade and try to take over everyone else. I would personally love to see a game like that.
I don't know. I feel like there are plenty of games that have represented a more nuanced version of America, in which not everybody is a shining example of bravery.
Right, right. But like Call of Duty campaigns, Russia's always invading the United States. North Korea invades in Homefront: The Revolution. Germany invades in Wolfenstein. We're always getting invaded. We're never the ones kind of
doing the invading.
Yeah, like arguably Fallout is the only series in my head that I can think where the United States was actively the bad guy. You know what I mean? Like the Enclave, they were always trying to do bad things to people, like the government was. They were doing things in secret, like tests. They had Vault Tech.
Fallout's different though, because everybody's the bad guy in Fallout. There are no good guys in Fallout.
What? I'm a good guy. What about Doc Mitchell?
Are you really?
Doc Mitchell's a great guy.
Doc Mitchell's a very nice man.
What about your father in Fallout 3?
He is a total jerk who abandoned me in the vault, knowing that it was going to cause problems. Of course they're going to blame me for this disappearance of my father. And then you meet up with him again out in the wasteland, and like 2 seconds later he's like, hey kid, why don't you go clear out these super mutants from the basement? There are like 3 or 4 dozen in there, but you'll be fine, my beautiful child. Dozen. You'll be just fine. He's not a good guy.
Yeah. But all I'm saying is I can't think of a game that's being told from a perspective of someone who's getting their country invaded by the United States. Mm-hmm. Where like the United States is the main
aggressor.
Antagonist. Yes, yeah. I can't think of, and I wonder if that just is because we've had back-to-back like thumbs up success stories, forget Vietnam, kind of thing. I don't know, but it's a very interesting concept of like who's the bad guy and why are they always the bad guy kind of thing. Like Russians, Germans, like it's always them. Anyone from the Middle East, it's always those guys. But yeah, I think Far Cry 5. Bad guys were Montagnans.
Isn't that a civil situation, though? That's not a country versus country situation?
It is civil, but a far right religious cult takes over a county in Montana, and so they're the bad guys there. And then a nuclear holocaust happens, and that's Far Cry New Dawn, and then it's a post-apocalyptic. Yeah, they jumped the shark with those games, in my opinion, where like Far Cry New Dawn was like a post-apocalyptic version of Far Cry 5 in the same county. But yeah, anyway. Archin. Archin chat says the Germans earned that spot with 2 world wars. Oof. Anyway, we should move on to Gamestock. Take it away, Shalene. Shalene?
I'm sorry, I was typing in chat.
Oh.
I'm just gonna say it. Okay, so Archin said he commented on. We were talking about how our Fallout 3 dad is actually not a good guy because he sent us into the super mutant infested basement, right? So Archin says he taught you how to shoot at 10. And I see the point, but like my actual dad taught me how to shoot as a child too. And I'd still be real mad at him if he tried to send me into a super mutant infested basement. So there's that. Gamestock. This is your GameStop update. We've got Sony up by $1.97 to $111.79. Microsoft is up slightly, $2.60, closing at $255.85. Nintendo is down just about a quarter at $74. Take-Two is up 42 cents at $184.02. Activision has dropped 68 cents to $95.78. Ubisoft is up a dime at $16.13. EA is down $1.09 at $140.46. Tencent down $1 at $79.42, and GameStop has continued to slowly drop, reaching $158.36, down almost $12 since our last episode.
Now, I do want to say we had an error in our GameStop segment last episode where we were reporting Ubisoft at like $60 per share. That was for a different currency type. It's like the U with the 2 lines, horizontal lines, and is it the euro?
Okay, start over.
Ubisoft?
Yeah.
We said that their stock was at like $60 a share.
Okay, the deal with that is that Ubisoft, it can be reported as trading in fifths, and that's usually what I report it as, is trading in fifths.
Oh.
And vendor usually reports it at an entire share. So it just depends on which one of us puts together the notes.
Okay, well, it maybe wasn't a mistake then. Anyway, there we go. Yeah, GameStop is dropping a lot. So it'd be a good time to sell if you're holding on, because it probably won't bounce back. So there you go. How are your stocks doing?
My little stocks, where's my phone? What do I have now? Nintendo? I think my Nintendo are doing okay. I'm wishing that I had maintained that Sony stock. I finally got rid of it, and it just skyrocketed after that. Yep. So many regrets.
Blomp.
Yes. My Nintendo stock is... I am at a total return of $80.16 right now. On Nintendo stock.
Okay.
So I'm doing pretty good with my little Nintendo stocks.
All right. Well, the stock market is just a game of ups and downs and wins and losses, like most things are. But I haven't been playing the stock market. I've been playing other games, mostly Cyberpunk 2077, just kind of forcing my way through this patch to like it. And yeah, one of my favorite things to do is ride the motorcycle around while listening to the radio and doing some miscellaneous side quests and stuff. And when the radio breaks or the HUD just disappears, it really breaks the immersion for me. It sucks, and I wish that it were not. I wish that it was not so, but yeah, you can't. In my opinion, the game is unplayable. And I started a new character as a nomad. I wanted to be like a hacky snipey kind of thing. And yeah, it just, I wanted to enjoy the game for the second run through, and I'm going to wait till they try to patch it again and see how that works. But yeah, other than that, I purchased the Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 Remastered campaign.
Oh, really?
Because I really wanted to check that out and play it again. And I really enjoyed Modern Warfare, the last Modern Warfare they put out, where they kind of reset the story. So I don't know if you know this.
No, I was just nodding along.
Yeah, so I don't know if you know this or not, but Modern Warfare, you remember Gaz from the Call of Duty campaigns? Mm-hmm. Well, they've reimagined the Modern Warfare storyline, and they actually took it to the beginning. So before Call of Duty 4, that's where Modern Warfare takes place. And so you meet Captain Price for the first time, you meet Gaz for the first time, and also Ghost. No, you don't meet Ghost yet. But Gaz is this African-American, like, I don't know if he's not a cop. I guess he's SAS. I'm not sure. But whoever does his voice acting, I love the character of Gaz. I like how they reimagined him a lot. He's just really cool. And how him and Price team up. And then at the very end of Modern Warfare, they're trying to go after a certain group of bad guys. And so, like, Price is like, I need a team, and here's my roster. And then, like, they're flipping over and they're like, why does this person have no name? And he just smiles because it's Ghost's folder. So it's nice. Like, yeah, it's the very, very, very first instance of Task 141. So, but the campaign is fantastic. So, like, you know, some of the missions you're like slowly clearing out a house, and you have to be tactical and not shoot civilians, and you have to, like, you know, clear rooms and stuff. And then other missions, you're like flying like UAVs with homemade bombs on them because you're helping like a militia. You're helping a guerrilla militia fight some bad guys. And Nikolai, you remember Nikolai from?
I do.
He's in this one. He's like helping Price out with like doing different things, and so the campaign is really, really good. It's one of my, and there's a campaign where you're a child trying to escape chemical bombs from a Russian faction. So, like, you know, it's a really interesting campaign. It's a very good campaign. So going back to play Modern Warfare 2 and seeing what that style of campaign is like, where every level's go, 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 run, run, go, and waves of enemies, and go, go, and enemies from this side of me. And I'm like, gosh, there's no breaks. Like, there's no, you know, and like enemies just keep coming from nowhere and spawning, and there's like no realism really at all to it. And how, you know, just the styles of the different storytellings were like, one's a Michael Bay flick.
Yeah.
And the other one's more like toned down Michael Bay, I guess. I can't think of any, you know. Okay, one's a Michael Bay like Transformers flick, which is like Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare 2. But the new Modern Warfare is very much like watching 13th Hour or whatever, which is
right.
that movie about the Benghazi. Which is another thing too. Like, here's another thing going back to the controversy. In Modern Warfare, you basically play an alternate version of Benghazi. Like, there's a whole like ambassador. The militia attacks the embassy, and then you fall back to the ambassador's compound, and then that gets overrun. I mean, like, you are playing the Benghazi element like in this game. It's not historically accurate, but it's still the same concept. And actually, the field. Did you ever watch that movie with what's that guy, Jim from The Office?
No.
So he plays one of the CIA operatives in, like, he's a military tactical dude. I can't think of the right term for, but he's one of the security team members, and like he's like jacked. You've seen the meme, like, Jim, they've got Pam, and then it's like him in the tactical gear with a rifle.
I don't think I've never seen The Office, Rick.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
No.
I'll have to show you the so there's like this part in the movie where the bad guys are coming through this field of like concrete pillars and like drapes hanging around, so you can't really see them, and it's a very Michael Bay moment. They kind of rebuilt that a little bit in the game. So I've been playing a lot of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 and Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and it's a lot of fun to revisit those games, and you know, the moments when like Shepard betrays your team and you're like, Shepard, you know, and it's the storytelling is really good. I don't know how, and I really hope that they continue from the new storyline, even though they kind of like changed they kind of like changed canon a little bit. I hope that they continue the story like they did with Modern Warfare, Call of Duty 4, and then Modern Warfare 2, and then Modern Warfare 3. I hope that they continue with 141 after this particular Modern Warfare campaign, and I hope that they don't abandon single player for like Warzone and multiplayer and stuff like that.
Right.
Because they did such a good job with Modern Warfare. So anyway, that's what I've been playing. What about you, Shalene?
Okay, so life has been hard, Rick. Life is hard.
Yeah.
You probably are aware
Get
of
a
this.
helmet,
You're acquainted with this. So I've been playing Animal Crossing, and that pretty much covers it.
Oh, yeah.
We did have a couple of things going on in Animal Crossing. Bunny Day happened. So last weekend was Easter, of course. So Bunny Day is the event in Animal Crossing. Zipper the bunny shows up on your island. And have I told you about Zipper the bunny?
No.
Zipper is nightmare fuel. He is this super excited, like, bunny. He's like happy. He's bouncy. He's like, yes, we're going to have the best time. But you'll notice that there is a zipper on his back, right? Like it's a suit. It is definitely a suit, but Zipper will not admit that it's a suit, and if you mention it, he gets really annoyed, and like he will not talk about that. So it's a little creepy, a little spooky, and even the villagers notice. One of my villagers came up to me on Easter. I went to her house. I went to her house on Easter, and she was like, "Hey, have you been to the square?" And I was like, yeah. And she's like, did you see that guy who's definitely not in a bunny suit? What a weirdo, right? So funny. But Bunny Day was a lot of fun. I got to craft a whole bunch of new recipes and collect eggs. You can collect eggs from all sorts of different places, fishing, and there are some that are buried and some that are hidden in rocks, and some that you can get from floating balloons that float by, and then you shoot the balloon down and there's an egg. It's really fun. Really, really fun. So I quite enjoyed Bunny Day. I managed to craft everything, and I got special prizes from Zipper. And I crafted a fabulous like Easter dress with a hat, and I looked adorable, just adorable.
I'll tell you.
And there was, there's still a cherry blossom event going on where the cherry blossoms are blooming, and there are little cherry petals in the wind that you can catch with your bug net, and you can craft those into some different things. And I've really enjoyed that, crafting things out of cherry blossoms. But I know I come here every week and I tell you these wholesome, adorable stories of Animal Crossing, Rick, and you've long suspected that there is a dark, seedy underbelly.
Oh, there totally is.
To Animal Crossing. And I think I may have found it.
Oh, yeah?
So,
what you got?
Yeah, I did. So there is a character named Red. And Red is a fox. He pulls up to your island in a very shady looking boat.
I've seen the boat.
Yes, the boat is like it's a little shady, right?
Yeah.
Like it looks like the kind of boat that when you go on, you're gonna leave with one less kidney, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
So, Red is an art dealer, and he brings art for sale on his little boat. And you go in there; it's very very dark inside the boat, so you can barely see this artwork. You have to like zoom in, and Red tries to go a little bit car salesman on you. He's like, "Hey, you know, we're practically cousins. Let me give you the cousin discount."
Yeah.
And the Tortuga Island discount or whatever your island is called. And but the price is always the same anyway for all of the artworks.
Oh, really?
And some of his artworks are always fake. They're based on actual historical works of note, and it can be totally random. Maybe all of the artworks are genuine articles, maybe all of them are forgeries, maybe there's one real one and three forgeries. You never know for sure. I like to buy these artworks without really checking. I don't like to Google and find out if I'm looking at the real thing or a forgery. I like to just go based on my own knowledge and see how well I can do. And I tend to be pretty successful. I've only purchased, I think, one forgery so far.
Like you can actually tell by looking?
Yeah, they're different.
Oh.
They're different. There are small differences. Like, for example, the bust of Nefertiti, that famous bust of Nefertiti, the fake one's wearing earrings.
Oh.
Yeah, and the real one, of course, doesn't. One of mine this week, one of my forgeries was Da Vinci's Vitruvian Man. And there was a coffee ring up in one of the corners, like where somebody had put their coffee. So I knew that was the forgery. But there's this one painting that I thought might be the real one. I forget who the artist is for the real version, but it's like the profile of a man made out of fruit and vegetables.
Oh, is that
It's
Picasso?
no, it's not Picasso. It's much older than that, but it's super creepy. I hate it. I hate this painting. I hate the real painting. It creeps me out. But I knew it wasn't the Vitruvian Man. I knew it wasn't the episode of The Thinker, because that one was it was positioned wrong. And there was another one that I already had that I thought it possibly could have been the real one, but I was pretty sure that this horrible fruit and vegetable guy was the guy. So so I bought that, and Red doesn't let you carry the art off the ship with you. He mails it to you the next day, so that when you find out it's a forgery, he's well away, and you will have forgiven and forgotten by the time he gets back. So I get my painting, and I hate this stupid painting, right? But I take it to the museum, to Blathers, and I'm like, "Hey, Blathers, you know, I got this painting." And Blathers is like, "Oh wow, look at this jolly painting." And then he's shocked because Blathers lets me know this painting is a forgery. I'm so sorry, but I cannot accept forgeries for the Tortuga Museum. So okay, Blathers, I understand. You know, I got rooked. I bought this stupid forged painting, and usually when I get a forged painting, I have one other forged painting, and I'm not upset that I got a forged painting, because now I have a beautiful piece of art in my house. You know, I just hung it on my wall, and I was pleased. I was happy. But I hate this painting. I hate this fruit and vegetable head guy. I'm not going to hang it in my house. I hate it.
Is it the one I have on my shared screen here?
Hang on, let me look. Yes, that's the one. That is the one. I hate it.
It is kind of weird.
I hate it so much, Rick.
It reminds me of the Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark Tree Head book.
Yes, yes, it does. So I think, what am I going to do with this thing? And I decide I'm going to give it to one of my villagers. Maybe they will enjoy putting it on their wall.
Here, Mom.
And I know just the villager. Her name is Hazel. She has a unibrow. She's a little squirrel. She's a total weirdo. And I think she's probably going to love this weird painting, right? So I go to Hazel's house and I'm like, Hazel, I've got a gift for you. And I give her this painting and she's like, oh my gosh, you're giving me art? This is amazing. But then she stops and kind of leans in and says, has Blathers had a look at this? Has Blathers checked this out? And she's like, I don't mean to sound ungrateful, Shalene, but I really think Blathers should be the one to get this artwork. And she gave it back to me. She refused it and gave it back to me. And I'm like, fine. So I can't even give this thing away. So I take it to the Nookling shop. Because I'm going to sell it. I'm sure the Nooklings will notice that it's a forgery. I'm not expecting to get a good price for it. But I figure they'll offer me 5 or 10 bells and get rid of this painting for me. And I take it over to Tommy Nook and I'm like, hey, I've got this painting. I'd like you to buy it. And he looks at it and he says, excuse me, we cannot accept forged artwork here at the Nook shop. And he gives me this little speech and he says, so let's just start over and pretend this never happened. And then he starts the dialogue tree over from the top.
Wow.
So I laughed, but I was also shocked and annoyed. He did. He just started over and pretended like that never happened. So I eventually had to craft a garbage can so that I could throw this painting away.
You couldn't even give it away, huh?
I could not give it away.
That is hilarious.
I was so mad.
Womp.
Stupid painting. I hate it. That's it.
That sucks. Yeah, I had seen my wife purchase a Mona Lisa that was accurate from that fox. So, yeah. I watched a little bit of Animal Crossing here and there when I walked downstairs, and one of my family's playing it on the TV or on the Switch or something.
Yeah.
Lately, the game that I walk down and see them playing is Genshin. So, that's taken over the household by storm.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that are playing that, but I've never tried it.
It's like Breath of the Wild mixed with Pokemon and anime.
I mean, it sounds great.
Yeah, I just could never picture my wife playing that game. It's so anime. Like, it's super... Like, when you do the gliding thing, your hands do like this and like down by the side. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
And it's just not my wife's style of game. And she's like, I don't know, I dig it. It's like, okay. So that's taken over the house by storm, that's for sure. So yeah, I think that's a show.
It's a show.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for joining us this evening. Join us next Friday, same time, same channel, for that Fallout show, episode 60, I believe. And then also check out our Discord for Joshy Theater and Vendors Book Nook. And we'd also like to, again, thank our sponsor, Oak and Crow Coffee. Check out their coffee selection at oakandcrow.com. It's delicious. You won't regret it. You can email us if you would like, info@wejustlovegames.com. And you can check us out on Twitter as well. Sorry, I got distracted by the chat. You can check us out on Twitter as well as our handles are @WeJustLoveGames, @ShaleneL, @RickMcVick, and @VendorTronIn. We're also on Facebook as well, facebook.com/WeJustLoveGames and facebook.com/groups/WeJustLoveGames. You can join our Discord by clicking the link below this stream. It's there 24/7, 7 days a week. And you can also message us for the link, and we'll do our best to get it to you. We record live 6:30 Mountain, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here at twitch.tv/WeJustLoveGames on Fridays. And please like us and subscribe to us on YouTube as well. That's where most of our shows end up. Check us out on YouTube, iTunes, and Stitcher Radio, wherever your podcasts are found. Like, subscribe, leave us a 5-star review on iTunes with some text, and we'll shout you out at the beginning of the show. Thank you so much for listening. Shalene, what is your last word?
I'm just still so furious. I can't even form a last word. I'm so angry about this fruit head guy painting.
I don't have a proper outro. So, bye?
Do, do, do.